Hello there, welcome to Geordie Giant Veg Diary. I just want to tell you a little bit about my season last year and the reason why I'm doing the diary. It's mainly because last year it was my first proper year of growing things. I'm not a gardener as such, but I'd like to think I'm a very competitive person. I enjoy it, don't get me wrong. I like planting the odd bulbs for my daffodils and stuff like that. But I've never grown vegetables before. Since, well, till last year. Last year was basically my first year. I decided to grow tomatoes, chilies, leeks, onions, and I did a container of potatoes. Just a couple of new potatoes I grabbed out of a bag we had in the fridge. I just stuck them in a pot, basically let them go, and ended up with a massive load of potatoes at the end of it, which I was quite surprised at. I followed some friends' advice a bit too closely last year. I took everything a bit too seriously and literally, and I made a massive mistake. I was growing leeks and my leeks were doing fantastic. I was complimented by a lot of people on my leeks, the progress they were taking. They were all looking really good. And I was over the moon, absolutely overjoyed. But I made a massive mistake and I received a text message off a close friend who was down at the plot having a look at my leeks, just like, having a browse over them, and noticed that there was fungus on one of my leeks or a couple of my leeks. And with it being my first year, it sent us a text message saying, you need to spray your leeks with WD-40. It's no wonder mine are getting rust. Well, I didn't know what rust was. I know it was an airborne fungus, spores basically, and if one plant gets them, it tends to spread through the air and it attaches itself to other susceptible leeks in this occasion. So what I did was I went down, took his advice. The text message was supposed to be a joke. It didn't come across as a joke. I didn't take it as a joke. I took it literally, not knowing. And I basically sprayed the little bits of fungus, rust, on my leeks with WD-40. Not a lot, just a tiny little spray on the tiny little areas which was forming the rust. Little did I know at that time that it was a joke, and obviously you put WD-40 on rust. I didn't get a joke. And the leeks absorbed the WD-40, and it basically went straight to the root system, killed them within 3-4 days. I went down to check on them. My leeks were all yellow. Not all of them. I had about 14 leeks. I sprayed about 7. They happened to be the best ones I sprayed at the time. All the leaves, instead of them being a lush green colour, they were a yellowy golden colour. And when I, upon further inspection, had a look, pulled a couple of the flags back to have a look, basically the root system had just all went to mush, and inside the leeks had rotted, went to mush straight away. It just absorbed the oil, the WD-40, absorbed it straight in and killed them. And when I sent a message to the guy who told us to do it, I said, I don't know what's going on, but the leeks I've sprayed with the WD-40 are dead. He basically shit himself. Very apologetic. Wasn't his fault. At the end of the day, it was my fault. I took what he said literally. It should have been a joke. I didn't get the joke, but it was my fault. I wasn't clued up. I was very naive and green as far as, not as greener than my leeks, haven't said that, because they were yellow. To believe everything he was saying to us, and he was devastated that I'd ruined my leaks, as were a couple of other people. And there were, I was devastated as well. I don't blame him. There's no animosity there. It wasn't his fault. It was my fault. I should have rang him up before, thinking, really do I spray WD-40 on the parts of fungus on my leaks? Is it an old wives' tale? Which I assumed it was, because I'd heard you can use WD-40 for, 1,001 different things. So I ended up looking like a tit, which basically I was. I was a tit for doing it. I would have come close in the leak show. I would have liked to have thought if I'd kept on going. I ended up entering 3 leaks I had, and coming last place. But I entered them still. They weren't bad, but I still come last because I was a dick and I sprayed my leaks with WD-40. This year, I'm doing this diary because I basically want to rectify what happened last year. I want another crack at the whip. And I want to change a few people's opinions of us, because I was basically laughed at last year. They called us a fool. Oh, you're an idiot. Can't believe you did that. I put some pictures up of my leeks show I put in the show last year, as well as some of the pictures of my onions, my show onions, which I won. First year grown onions ever, and I won the leek show, well, the onion section of that show. I also won the 3 veg section with one of my good leeks, which I kept. I didn't put in the 3 to put in the show. I kept one of the good leeks aside, as well as a nice onion and potatoes in the 3 veg section, which, yeah, I won the 3 veg section for my first year. I also came second in the tomato section, which I thought it was a truss of tomatoes. I didn't realise that the tomatoes you could put in, it could just be a huge ball, massive truss of tomatoes with unripened tomatoes in and ripe tomatoes. I had no idea that. I wasn't familiar on them rules. I thought there had to be a nice neat truss of tomatoes, all available and edible, ready to eat. Basically, that's what I assumed a truss of tomatoes was. I was wrong. But nevertheless, every year I'm going to do this. I'll do it until I win, and I enjoy it. I'll keep doing it even though I might not win the league show. I just want to kind of shut a few people up, because I was a bit of a laughing stock last year. Everyone in the club, I'm sure, I had a giggle at us, which is fair enough, because only an idiot would spray his leaks with WD-40. But I was not a no. So yes, hopefully this year I will be able to rectify a few of the problems last year. I won't look like such of a tit, even though I think I surprised a few people with my onions. I got a lot of compliments, and I was chuffed to bits. I was over the moon with them, to be honest. A guy, they do a sale afterwards of all the veg in the show to raise funds for the following year's show, and I believe a gentleman, an elderly gentleman, was that keen on my onions. He bought them for like a nice price. Normally they go for a couple of quid here and there, sort of thing. He bought them for like 10 or 12 quid, I believe, which doesn't sound much, but it is, but something which was going to be thrown away. He bought them for to replant them so he could get seeds from them, because he wanted the strain of onions I had, because they were impressive. And I'll be giving it a good whack this year for to try and rectify what happened last year, because I looked like a tit. So hopefully this year any advice I'll be getting, I'll be checking, double checking, triple checking, to make sure that I don't make the same mistake again like I did last year. And I'd like to think I'll do a lot better than last year, because you can't do much worse than last place, can you, really, to be honest? So I'll be doing a lot of videos showing you progress throughout the year, different feeds and stuff I'll be putting in. I'm trying 2 separate types of onions this year. Last year I tried Kelsey onions, which they were stonking, brilliant. I know Kelsey onion seeds have been rare this season, but I managed to get myself some. And I'm trying some giant Russian onions. We'll see how they pan out. I'm not hopeful. They've had some pretty good reviews, but I think the reviews people have wrote about the seeds is a bit bullshitty, just to try and sell the seeds sort of thing. So I'll be trying them. I've got them busy growing underneath the lights in my shed at the moment, which I'll show you on a later video. I'll be potting up. I'll also show you the tubes I'll be growing me long parsnips in. I've bought, I'll only be doing 8 large parsnips this year, long root parsnips. I bought 4 lengths of drainage pipe, 4-inch drainage pipe, cut them in half, so I've got 8 2-meter lengths of drainage pipe. What I've done is I've cut them in half, so you've got 2 sections. I've fitted a long piano hinge sort of thing to one side so they can open and close, and I've just cable tied them down so they remain shut. Put a plant pot on the bottom and lined them up along the back of my little greenhouse shed sort of thing, which I'll show you because I've hardly got any room. I've just kind of cable tied them along there standing up. I'm going to fill them with compost and a couple of other bits and bobs like calcified seaweed. I'm going to be putting a little bit of that in there. I've got some, just come this morning, some volcanic rock dust. I've just bought some of that. I don't know if you can see it there. I'm going to try that. A couple of ounces of that. Calcified seaweed, I believe, neutralizes the acidity in soil. And this comes, the granules are quite big. They're like pellets. So I believe you've got to, I believe you've got to blend them. You've got to put them in the blender, break them down so they're a powder. So when I do that, I'll be adding it to the compost I'm putting in the parsnips. I'll also show you what I'll be putting in the compost for my onions, which I plan to have some good onions this year. I've grown them from seed myself, and I want to win it again. I don't think I'll be doing tomatoes again. I'll wait and see because I'm just struggling for room, really. I'm going to see what sort of